right, so we're diving into something kind of unexpected today.
Uh-oh.
The power of napping.
Interesting.
Yeah, we've got excerpts from this book.
Okay.
And it's specifically aimed at men.
Gotcha.
Particularly those in leadership positions. Now, I know what you might be thinking.
What's that?
Napping. Isn't that for, like,
Yeah.
slackers?
Right.
But trust me, this book completely flips the script.
Okay.
It argues that napping is this
It's like a secret weapon.
secret weapon
Okay.
for high performance.
Interesting.
A way to maximize your energy focus and ultimately your success.
You know what's fascinating about this book is that it really challenges that always-on mentality.
Right.
That so many men feel pressured to live by. And it argues that rest,
Yeah.
specifically napping,
Yeah.
isn't a sign of weakness at all.
Yeah.
But it's a strategic tool
That's like a...
that's been used by
Yeah.
some of history's most accomplished figures.
You're telling me. The book even mentions guys like
Oh,
Thomas Edison, Winston Churchill,
Yep.
John F. Kennedy.
absolutely.
These were men who were leading nations, innovating, shaping the world.
Totally.
And they all understood the value of a well-timed nap.
And you know, it's not just historical figures.
Right.
Think about NASA astronauts.
Oh, wow.
Even the military.
Really?
They all use napping strategically to improve performance and alertness.
Huh.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
This book cites a NASA study
Oh, wow.
that found that a 26-minute nap can improve performance by 34%.
Whoa.
That's a significant boost.
That's huge.
It makes you wonder what we could all achieve with a little more rest.
34% boost just from a quick nap.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay, so how does this cognitive reboot actually work?
Yeah. How does it work?
What's the science behind it?
So the book dives into the science of sleep.
Okay.
Explains how napping helps clear out a chemical called adenosine.
Adenosine.
Yeah, and this builds up in our brains throughout the day, makes us feel tired. Think of it like hitting the reset button on your brain.
I like that.
Napping allows adenosine to clear out, gives you a fresh start mentally.
So it's not just about feeling less tired.
Right.
It's about actually improving our cognitive function.
Exactly. And this is especially important for leaders
Yeah.
who are constantly facing, complex decisions, demanding situations.
Right.
Book argues that napping can give you that mental clarity and focus. You need
Okay.
to lead effectively.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
When you're running on fumes, it's hard to make good decisions or think strategic.
For sure.
So a nap could be like giving yourself a mental tune-up.
Yeah, like a tune-up.
But how long should we be napping for?
Good question.
Is there an ideal nap length?
So the book emphasizes the importance of timing
Okay.
when it comes to napping.
Right.
If you nap for too long,
Too long. Yeah.
you can actually wake up feeling groggy and disoriented.
Oh, really?
That's called sleep inertia.
Sleeper no. I've heard of that.
The sweet spot,
Yeah.
according to the book, is a 20-30-minute nap.
Wait.
Enough time to clear out that adenosine and feel refreshed, but not so long that you disrupt your sleep cycle
You don't want it.
and wake up feeling worse.
Yeah. Okay. So a short power nap is the way to go.
That's the sweet spot.
Seems doable even on a busy day.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest, I still kind of think of napping as mainly about productivity. Is there more to it than that?
There's so much more.
Really?
This book argues that napping not only improves your productivity, but also has a significant impact on your emotional resilience, your relationship,
Wow.
even your overall well-being.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Okay.
I'm curious to hear more about how napping can benefit those areas of life.
So we all know that stress is a constant in life, right?
Oh, yeah.
But chronic stress can be incredibly damaging to our health and well-being.
For sure.
And the book highlights how napping
Yeah.
helps regulate,
Cortisol.
which is our body's primary stress hormone.
So by taking a nap, are we essentially giving our bodies a chance to de-stress and reset?
Exact. And this can have a ripple effect on all aspects of our lives.
Oh.
When we're less stressed,
Yeah.
we're more patient, more understanding, and more emotionally available for the people we care about.
That's a good point.
The book shares an anecdote about a CEO
Okay.
whose wife noticed a huge difference in his demeanor
Oh, wow.
after he started napping regularly.
What happened?
She even said he was less of a jerk after his naps.
That's hilarious.
It's funny.
But it makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
When we're sleep deprived and stressed out, we're not exactly our best selves.
Right.
A nap could be just what we need to show up as the best versions of ourselves,
Right.
both at work and at home.
I love that.
Right.
Showing up as the best version of yourself. And it's not just anecdotal evidence.
Okay.
The book also cites a 2020 Harvard study
Harvard study.
that found napping parents engaged in more positive parenting practices. So if you're a dad, a nap might be just the thing you need to be more patient and present with your kids.
It's not selfish to prioritize rest.
Right.
It's actually a way to show up better for the people who matter most. I
Exactly.
like that perspective.
And this idea of rest being a cultural norm
Mm-hmm.
rather than a sign of weakness
Yeah.
is something the book explores in depth.
Okay.
It takes us on this fascinating journey through history,
Right.
looking at napping practices across different cultures.
All right. I'm all ear. Tell me more about that.
Well, for example, the Spanish have their famous
The CS.
tradition of taking a midday break,
Mhm.
often including a nap.
Yeah.
Then there's the Japanese concept of inemuri,
Inemuri.
which basically translates to sleeping while present.
Wow.
It's this socially accepted practice in Japan
Really?
where people can nap in public,
Oh, wow.
even during meetings,
That's wild.
as a sign of dedication to their work.
It's amazing how different cultures view napping. Here in the West, we tend to associate it with laziness, but in other parts of the world, it's seen as a sign of hard work or even a spiritual practice.
Oh,
It really puts things into perspective.
it does.
Yeah.
These cultures demonstrate that napping can coexist with productivity, achievement, and success. It's not about being lazy, it's about working with your body's natural rhythm.
Right.
Understanding that rest is a key ingredient for high performance.
Okay, so let's say someone's ready to embrace the power of napping.
Okay.
What are some practical tips for creating a nap-friendly environment?
Yeah, what should we be thinking about?
Yeah.
That's where the book gets really tactical.
Okay.
It emphasizes that you need to take control of your environment for optimal napping.
Makes sense.
It's not just about lying down anywhere and hoping for the best.
All right, so walk me through it.
Okay.
What are the key things to consider?
Let's start with noise reduction.
Noise reduction.
This could mean using noise-canceling headphones,
Okay.
simple earplugs, or investing in a white noise machine. The goal is to eliminate distractions that might prevent you from falling asleep
Right.
or disrupt your nap.
Makes sense. What about light control?
Light control.
Yeah, I know. I struggle to sleep when there's too much light.
It's crucial.
Yeah.
The book suggests blackout curtains and eye masks, or even nap glasses with special light filters.
Nap glass.
Yeah. Even a small amount of light can interfere with your sleep cycle, so the darker the better.
Got it. Darkness is key. Anything else to keep in mind?
Temperature also plays a big role.
Temperature.
The ideal range for sleep is between 67 degrees for Thurston back room.
Okay.
So you might need to adjust the thermostat, use a fan, or grab an extra blanket depending on your environment.
Right.
The goal is to create a space that's comfortable and conducive to sleep.
These are all really practical tips that anyone can implement.
Yeah.
It's about being intentional and creating a space where you can truly recharge and reset.
Absolutely.
This book takes something as simple as napping and elevates it to a science. A way to hack your biology and environment for peak performance.
It's really quite fascinating.
It is.
And as you mentioned earlier, napping isn't just a personal practice.
Right.
It's starting to gain traction in the workplace.
Oh, really?
Companies like Google and Nike, known for their innovative cultures and high-performing employees,
Yeah.
have actually started offering nap pods,
Nap pod.
designated rest areas.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's a sign that the tide is turning.
Yeah.
And we're finally recognizing the value of rest as a tool for productivity and well-being.
It's not a sign of weakness. It's a smart strategy.
Exactly.
What else is on the horizon? Does the book talk about any future trends in the world of napping?
It does highlight the rise of napping apps.
Napping apps.
These apps use guided meditation,
Wow.
binaural beats, and other techniques to help you fall asleep faster and wake up feeling refreshed.
That sounds incredible technology.
Yeah.
Helping us nap better. Who would have thought?
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
And the potential is huge. Imagine a world where napping is not just accepted,
Yeah.
but encouraged.
Encouraged. Wow.
We could see healthier, happier, and more productive individuals and communities. It's a vision worth striving for.
Absolutely. This book is packed with information, and it's clear that napping is a powerful tool for anyone,
Yeah.
especially for men who lead, helping them achieve peak performance in every aspect of their lives.
You summed it up perfectly. It's
Yeah.
not just about
Right.
It's about maximizing your potential and leading with clarity, energy, and resilience.
Yeah, leading with resilience.
I like that too.
It really is fascinating how something as simple as napping can have such a profound impact on our lives.
Yeah.
But I think the book goes even deeper than that,
Yeah.
suggesting that napping can actually be a form of resistance against this hustle culture
Right.
we're constantly bombarded with.
It's like pushing back against the system that's
Yeah.
always trying to exploit our time and energy.
Right, by taking a nap, we're reclaiming our time and energy.
Yes, exactly.
And pushing back against this idea that we always need to be on and productive.
I love that perspective.
It's not about laziness. It's about reclaiming our agency and saying no to a culture that demands constant output.
It's powerful.
Yeah, it's a powerful statement.
And the book shares a personal story from the author
Okay.
about how he was caught in the grip of this hustle culture, working 16-hour days,
Oh, wow.
sacrificing his health and relationship.
Yeah.
He describes hitting a breaking point and finally deciding to incorporate naps into his routine.
I'm curious what happened when he started napping.
So he describes
Did it actually make a difference?
a dramatic shift.
Really?
His focus sharpened, his creativity soared.
Wow.
He felt more in control of his life.
That's great.
It wasn't just about the physical rest, it was about the mental and emotional clarity that came with prioritizing rest. Napping became his secret weapon, a way to outsmart the system that was designed to grind him down.
That's a powerful story.
It is.
It reminds us that we have a choice. We can buy into the hustle culture and burn ourselves out, or we can choose to prioritize rest and recharge our batteries
I like that.
so we can operate at our best.
Recharge those batteries.
But I think it's especially challenging for men to embrace rest.
Yeah, I agree.
We're often conditioned to believe that we need to be tough, stoic,
Always on.
and always on.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the book really emphasizes this point.
Okay.
It argues that this shift in mindset from seeing rest as a weakness to recognizing it as a strength is particularly important for men.
It's a different kind of strength.
It is a different kind of strength.
Yeah.
It's about having the courage to go against the grain and prioritize your well-being.
Even when it feels counterintuitive.
Even when it feels
Yeah.
counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's about challenging societal expectations and taking control of your own energy and well-being.
Absolutely.
Speaking of societal expectations, I'm curious to hear more about the historical and cultural perspectives on napping that you mentioned earlier.
Absolutely. The book highlights how napping isn't this new concept.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's been woven into the fabric of successful societies for centuries.
Really?
Like, for example, the ancient Egyptians.
Wait.
They believed that dreams were messages from the gods.
Oh, wow.
That napping was a way to access these divine insights.
Really?
It was a deeply spiritual practice for them.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
It really challenges our modern view of napping as simply a way to catch up on sleep.
Right.
It was about connecting with something greater than themselves.
It was.
Are there any other cultures that had a unique perspective on napping?
Another fascinating example is the monastic.
The monastic tradition.
Monks would typically take a midday nap
Okay.
as part of their daily rhythm, seeing it as a way to restore their energy and focus for their spiritual practices and studies.
So it highlights how rest is not the enemy of discipline or achievement. It's actually an essential component of a well-lived life.
A well-lived life. I like that.
Whether you're a monk, a CEO, or a stay-at-home dad,
It doesn't matter.
rest is essential.
Rest is essential.
So we've talked about the historical and cultural significance, but I'm also curious to hear more about the science behind napping.
Okay.
Does the book delve into the biological benefit?
It absolutely does.
All right.
The book explains how napping allows our bodies to engage in essential repair and rejuvenation processes. At a cellular level, napping can jumpstart cellular repair,
Wow.
helping us recover from stress, exercise, and even illness.
So it's not just about feeling rest.
No.
It's about giving our bodies a chance to literally heal and rebuild.
It's giving your body a chance to heal.
Wow.
And this is especially important for men,
Yeah.
who are often encouraged to push themselves physically and ignore their body's signals. Napping allows us to honor our body's need for recovery and maintain our physical well-being.
It's a powerful reminder that we need to be as intentional about our rest as we are about our workout
Yes.
or our work schedule.
Absolutely.
Speaking of being intentional, does the book touch on how napping can specifically improve our mental clarity and emotional resilience?
It does. The book delves into how napping helps to regulate our hormones,
Okay.
including cortisol, which is our primary stress hormone.
Cortisol.
When we're chronically stressed, our cortisol levels remain elevated, which can lead to all sorts of problems, including anxiety, insomnia, and difficulty managing our emotions.
So by taking a nap, we're essentially giving our bodies a chance to de-stress and reset our hormonal balance,
Exactly.
leading to better emotional regulation.
And it leads to better emotional regulation.
Wow.
And this hormonal reset has a profound impact on our mood, our focus,
Yeah.
and our ability to handle challenges effectively.
It makes sense when we're stressed out and running on fumes.
Yeah.
It's harder to think clearly, make good decisions, and stay emotionally grounded.
Napping is like giving our brains a break to declutter and process.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And the book highlights how napping can also boost our creativity.
Oh, really?
Cites research showing that even a short nap can enhance our ability to think outside the box, generate new ideas,
Wow.
and approach problems from a fresh perspective.
I've definitely experienced that myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm stuck on a problem or feeling creatively drained, a quick nap is all I need to come back with renewed energy and inspiration.
Absolutely.
It's like my brain has been working on the problem in the background while I rest.
That's exactly what's happening.
Really?
Your subconscious mind is still active during sleep,
Okay.
processing information and making connections.
So this is where napping can be incredibly valuable.
Incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
It allows us to tap into that subconscious processing power and come up with solutions that we might not have thought of otherwise.
Well, it's not just about rest. It's about tapping into our full creative potential like that. And the book goes even deeper, exploring how napping can improve our decision-making abilities.
Really?
When we're sleep deprived, our judgment can be clouded and we're more likely to make impulsive or risky choices. Napping helps to sharpen our focus and improve our cognitive function, enabling us to make better decisions in all areas of our lives.
It's a crucial point, especially for men in leadership roles.
I agree.
When you're making decisions that impact others,
Yeah.
whether it's your family, your team, or your company,
Yeah.
having a clear and focused mind is essential.
Couldn't agree more.
Speaking of high-stakes environments, does the book mention any examples of how napping has been utilized in demanding fields?
It does. It provides some compelling examples of how napping has been used effectively in high-stakes environments,
Oh, wow. Like what?
including the military and even space exploration.
That's fascinating. I would love to hear more about those examples.
For instance, the U.S. Army has incorporated tactical napping for years
Tactical napping.
as a way to keep soldiers alert and focused during long missions. They recognize that in these situations where lives are on the line, every decision matters, and fatigue can be detrimental.
Wow, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
In those high-pressure situations, even a small lapse in judgment can have serious consequences.
Absolutely.
So napping has also been integrated into space travel.
Yes.
Astronauts often take scheduled naps
To combat
to
fatigue
combat fatigue, yeah.
and maintain peak performance during long space flights.
It's incredible how something as simple as a nap can be so vital in these demanding and high-pressure environments.
It really is.
It really speaks to the power of rest as a performance enhancer.
Yeah.
But I also think about the everyday demands of being a father and husband.
Sure.
Does the book talk about how napping can improve those roles?
It absolutely does.
Okay.
As we've already discussed, napping helps to reduce stress and improve emotional regulation.
Right.
This means that when we're well rested, we're more likely to be patient, understanding, and emotionally available for our partners and children.
Right, when we're sleep deprived, it's easy to get irritable, short-tempered,
Oh, yeah.
and easily frustrated.
For sure.
Napping could be the key to being more present and engaged with our loved ones.
Exactly. And the book highlights how napping can also improve our communication skills.
Oh, that's interesting.
When we're well rested, we're better listeners.
Okay.
We're able to express ourselves more clearly, and we're less likely to react defensively or say something we'll regret.
Those are crucial skills for building strong and healthy relationships.
Absolutely.
It's like napping is a relationship.
I like that, a relationship superpower.
It allows us to communicate more effectively and connect on a deeper level with the people we care about.
Yeah, it really is. And the book shares some heartwarming anecdotes about how men have seen their relationships transform
Oh, wow.
after incorporating naps into their daily routine.
That's great.
There's one story about a CEO whose wife noticed he was less of a jerk
Oh, yeah, we talked about them.
after he started taking regular naps.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great reminder that small changes can have a big impact.
Totally.
And that taking care of ourselves isn't selfish. It's actually a way to show up more fully for the people we love.
I love that.
And I think this is especially important for fathers.
Yeah.
Fatherhood can be incredibly demanding, both physically and emotionally.
It is.
And I imagine sleep deprivation only adds to that challenge.
Absolutely. Fatherhood requires a lot of energy, patience, and emotional resilience. And as we know, sleep deprivation can make it incredibly difficult to meet those demands.
Right.
The book argues that napping can help dads stay energized, focused, and emotionally balanced,
Okay.
allowing them to be more present, engaged, and playful with their children.
So it's not just about surviving fatherhood, it's about thriving in it.
Exactly.
I like that.
It's about thriving.
That's a powerful message.
Yes.
It's about giving ourselves permission to rest and recharge so we can show up as the best dads we can be.
I love that.
But I'm also curious about the cognitive benefits of napping. Does the book talk about how it affects our brains, specifically in terms of creativity and problem solving?
Absolutely does. The book dives into the fascinating world of brainwave activity.
Okay.
Explaining how napping allows our brains to shift into different states of consciousness,
Wow.
which can impact our cognitive ability.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Walk me through that.
Right.
What are these different brainwave states and how do they relate to napping?
So there are 4 main brainwave states:
Okay.
beta, alpha, theta, and delta.
Okay.
Beta waves are associated with wakefulness and alertness,
Right.
while alpha waves are associated with relaxation and a calm but focused state.
Okay.
When we nap, our brain waves shift out of that busy beta state and into a more relaxed alpha state.
So it's like giving our brains a chance to slow down and declutter,
Exactly.
which could explain why we often feel more creative and insightful after a nap. nap.
And as we drift deeper into sleep,
Huh?
our brain waves slow even further, entering the theta state,
Theta.
which is associated with deep relaxation, meditation, and dreamlike states.
So even a short nap can allow us to tap into these deeper states of consciousness.
That's right. And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Because the theta state is where our subconscious mind comes into play.
Our subconscious.
It's the realm of intuition, inspiration, and those aha
Wow.
that often lead to breakthroughs.
It's like tapping into a wellspring of creative potential that we might not even be aware of
Right.
when we're in our normal waking state.
Exactly. And the book argues that napping can help us access this wellspring,
Oh, yeah.
allowing us to tap into our creativity, solve problems more effectively, and even unlock hidden talents.
Real.
It's a fascinating concept, and it really challenges us to rethink the potential of napping.
It really does. It's like napping isn't just about rest. It's about unlocking a whole new level of mental and creative potential.
Precisely. And to illustrate this point, the book provides some fascinating examples
Okay.
of how famous artists, inventors, and even athletes have used napping to enhance their creativity and performance.
Okay, I have to hear about these examples. Give me the juicy detail.
Well, one of the most famous nappers in history was Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo da Vinci.
He was known to take short naps throughout the day to boost his creativity and problem-solving ability.
Wow, that's incredible. Da Vinci was a true genius.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating to think that something as simple as a nap might have contributed to his remarkable achievement.
It's a powerful example of how napping can help us tap into our full potential.
Yeah.
And Da Vinci wasn't alone.
Yeah.
Thomas Edison, the prolific inventor, was also a famous napper.
Thomas Edison. Wow.
He believed that short naps were the key to unlocking his creativity,
Really?
and often napped in his lab, waking up with fresh ideas that led to groundbreaking inventions.
It's amazing to think that some of the most brilliant minds in history used napping as a tool for innovation.
It is.
But I have to admit, I'm still a bit skeptical about napping in the workplace.
Okay.
It feels like it would be frowned upon, like I'm slacking off.
I understand your hesitation,
Yeah.
but the book challenges that perception, arguing that napping is not a sign of laziness.
Right.
It's a smart strategy for improving productivity and well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And it's starting to gain traction in the workplace, especially in forward-thinking companies that recognize the value of rest.
Really? Are there companies actually embracing napping?
Absolutely.
Wow.
For example, Google, known for its innovative work culture,
Google, yeah.
has installed nap pods in its offices, giving employees a dedicated space to recharge during the workday.
That's a game changer.
It is.
It's a sign that we're starting to move away from the always-on mentality
Yeah,
that's so prevalent in our culture.
I agree.
It's about creating a work environment where rest is valued as a tool for success,
Exactly.
not seen as a sign of weakness.
Not a sign of weakness.
Right.
And this shift in workplace culture is something the book encourages us to advocate for.
Advocate for. Okay.
It's about speaking up, sharing the research, and challenging the stigma associated with napping.
It's about starting a conversation
Starting a conversation.
and showing people that napping can actually benefit everyone, both employees and employers.
Absolutely.
Speaking of benefits, we've talked a lot about the positive impact of napping on our individual lives.
Right.
But does the book explore the potential benefits for society as a whole?
It does. The book argues that when we prioritize rest and recovery,
Yeah.
we're not just taking care of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
we're also creating a more compassionate and supportive society.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that our well-being is interconnected.
Yeah.
As that when we take care of ourselves, we're also taking care of each other.
Exact. And the book highlights how cultures that value rest, like those that practice the siesta or inamori,
Yeah.
often have stronger social bonds and a greater sense of community.
It's like napping is a shared ritual that brings people together,
I like that.
fostering a sense of connection and belonging.
A sense of
It's
connection.
a beautiful thought.
It is. And the book encourages us to create a culture of rest in our own community, to encourage napping in workplaces, schools, and public spaces,
Wow.
and to challenge the stigma associated with rest.
It's about shifting our priorities from valuing busyness and productivity above all else
Yeah.
to recognizing the importance of rest, recovery, and connection.
Beautifully said. And this shift in mindset is something we can all contribute to.
One nap at a time.
One nap at a time.
It's a powerful reminder that even small changes like taking a nap can have a ripple effect, creating a more restful, resilient, and connected society.
I love that.
So for someone who's hearing all this and thinking, okay, I'm ready to give napping a try, but I'm not sure where to begin,
Yeah.
what advice does the book offer?
That's a great question. The book acknowledges that incorporating napping into a busy life can feel daunting,
It can?
but it offers some practical tips to get started. The first step is to experiment
Okay.
and find what works best for you.
So what are some things people can experiment with?
Well, you can start by experimenting with different nap lengths.
Okay.
Different nap blank. Some people find that a quick 20-minute power nap is all they need to recharge, while others might prefer a longer 60-90-minute nap to enter deeper sleep stages.
So it's about finding that sweet spot that leaves you feeling refreshed and energized.
Exactly.
Not groggy and disoriented.
Not groggy and disoriented, and don't be afraid to adjust your napping routine as needed.
Right.
Life is constantly changing, and our sleep needs can change too. The key is to listen to your body.
Listen to your body.
And pay attention to how different nap lengths and timings affect you.
It's about working with your body, not against it.
Precisely. And the book emphasizes the importance of consistency.
Okay.
The more consistent you are with your napping, the more benefits you'll experience.
It's like any other healthy habit.
Exactly.
The key is to make it a regular part of your routine.
Your routine.
Whether it's exercising, eating healthy, or taking a nap.
Absolutely. And we've already discussed some of the tips the book offers for creating a nap-friendly environment.
Right.
So I won't repeat those here.
Yeah.
But the main takeaway is that it's worth investing some time and effort to create a space where you can truly relax and recharge.
It's about setting the stage for a truly restorative nap.
Yes.
Speaking of setting the stage, does the book discuss the historical and cultural significance of napping?
It does.
I was fascinated by how different cultures approach rest.
The book takes us on this fascinating journey through history, exploring napping practices across different cultures.
Okay.
And highlighting how napping has been woven into the fabric of societies for...
Okay, I'm ready for a history lesson. Where do we start?
Let's start with ancient Egypt.
Ancient Egypt.
Where napping was viewed as a sacred...
A sacred practice.
The ancient Egyptians believed that dreams were messages from the gods.
Okay.
And that napping was a way to access these divine insights.
Oh, wow.
They would often induce naps by lying in specially designed sleep temples,
Really sleep temple.
hoping to receive guidance and wisdom from the divine realm.
Wow, that's a completely different way of thinking about napping.
It is, and this reverence for rest wasn't limited to ancient Egypt.
Oh.
The ancient Greeks also valued napping, seeing it as a way to promote physical and mental well-being.
Were there any specific Greek philosophers or thinkers who advocated for napping?
Yes, the book mentions Pythagoras, the famous mathematician and philosopher. He believed that naps helped to clear the mind and enhance creativity.
Wow.
And he encouraged his students to take regular naps as part of their intellectual pursuits.
It's fascinating to see how napping has been valued throughout history.
It is.
Makes you wonder if we've lost something valuable in our modern obsession with productivity and busyness.
We might have.
Yeah.
And the book goes on to explore napping practices in other cultures, including the famous Spanish siesta.
Oh yes, the siesta.
Siesta.
Such an iconic part of Spanish culture. Tell me more about its origins.
So the siesta has its roots in ancient Rome, where people would take a midday break to escape the heat and rest. This tradition was adopted by the Spanish, and it evolved into the siesta we know today,
Right.
which typically involves a long lunch followed by a nap.
It's a beautiful tradition that honors the need for rest and rejuvenation.
It is.
But I've always thought of the siesta as a cultural quirk, something specific to Spain
Yeah.
and other Mediterranean countries.
That's a common misconception. The book challenges this idea, arguing that napping is not a cultural quirk.
Okay.
It's a universal human need.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that.
The book explains how our bodies are naturally programmed for a midday dip in energy.
Okay.
Regardless of our culture or lifestyle, this dip, known as the postprandial dip,
The postprandial dip.
typically occurs in the early afternoon, and it's a signal from our bodies that we need to rest and recharge.
So the siesta is actually aligned with our biology.
Exactly. And by ignoring this natural dip in energy, we're essentially fighting against our own bodies,
No,
which can lead to fatigue, stress, and even health problems in the long run.
that's a good point. It's a powerful reminder that we need to honor our body's natural rhythms and prioritize rest,
Yeah.
even in our busy modern lives.
Absolutely. And speaking of different cultural approaches to napping, the book also explores the Japanese concept of inamori,
Inamori,
which translates to sleeping while present.
sleeping while present.
It's a socially accepted practice in Japan,
Oh, wow.
where people are allowed to nap in public places like trains meeting,
Really?
and even at their desks.
That's incredible. It's so different from our Western culture,
It is.
where napping is often seen as a sign of laziness or a lack of professionalism.
Right, but in Japan, inamori is actually seen as a sign of dedication and hard work.
That's fascinating. It's like they're saying, I'm so committed to my work that I'm willing to push myself to the point of exhaustion.
Yeah.
And I trust my colleagues enough to rest in their presence.
Exact. And this cultural acceptance of napping is something the book encourages us to cultivate in our own society. It's about creating a culture where rest is valued, not stigma,
Right.
and where people feel comfortable taking care of their well-being.
It's about recognizing that Rest is not the enemy of productivity.
Exactly.
Rather, it's the foundation for it.
Couldn't have said it better myself now. Before we wrap up this deep dive into the world of napping,
Right.
I want to touch on a few more fascinating insights from the book.
Okay, I'm all ears. What else did you uncover in your exploration of this topic?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me was the discussion of napping and creativity.
Oh, napping and creativity.
The book argues that napping can actually enhance our creative ability
Okay.
by allowing our brains to make new connections and access insights that might not be available when we're in a more alert state.
That's fascinating. I've definitely experienced that myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm working on a creative project and feeling stuck,
Mm-hmm.
a quick nap is all I need to come back with a fresh perspective and new ideas.
Exactly. And the book cites research showing that napping can boost our ability to think divergently.
Divergently.
Which is a key component of creativity.
Okay.
It's about seeing things from multiple angles, exploring different possibilities, and coming up with original solutions.
It's like napping gives our brains a chance to play, to wander,
The wonder, yeah.
and to make unexpected connections.
You've got it. And the book provides some fascinating examples of how famous artists, inventors, and even musicians
Yeah.
have used napping to enhance their creative output.
Okay, I have to hear about these examples.
Well, one of the most famous nappers in history was Salvador Dali, the surrealist painter.
Salvador Dali.
He was known to induce naps by holding a spoon over a plate,
The spoon.
believing that the sound of the spoon hitting the plate as he drifted off
Wow.
would help him access his subconscious mind.
Wow, that's a pretty unique napping technique.
It is, and while we might not all need to resort to spoons and plates,
Right.
Dali's approach highlights the power of napping to tap into our creative potential.
It's about giving ourselves permission to let go, to relax,
Yeah.
and to allow our subconscious minds to wander
Yeah.
and make those unexpected connections.
Exactly. And the book goes on to explore how napping can also enhance our problem-solving ability.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
How does napping help us solve problems?
Well, when we're facing a challenging problem,
Mm-hmm.
our brains can get stuck in a rut with the same thoughts and approaches over and over again.
Right.
Napping allows us to step away from the problem to clear our mind
Right.
and to come back with a fresh perspective.
It's like hitting the reset button on our brain,
It is like hitting the reset button.
allowing us to see the problem with new eyes.
Precisely. And the book cites research showing that napping can improve our ability to think flexibly,
Yeah.
to adapt to new information, and to find creative solutions to complex problems.
It's like napping gives us a cognitive edge, helping us to think more strategically and solve problems more effectively.
You've got it. And the book encourages us to use napping as a tool for problem solving, especially when we're feeling stuck or overwhelmed.
It's about recognizing that sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to step away from it.
Yeah.
Rest our minds and come back with renewed energy and clarity.
Exactly. Now, before we wrap up, I want to emphasize one more important point from the book.
Right.
Napping is not just about personal productivity or well-being.
Right.
It's also about building stronger community.
I'm intrigued. How does napping connect to community building?
The book argues that when we prioritize rest and recovery, we're not just taking care of ourselves. We're also creating a more compassionate and supportive society.
I love that perspective. It's about recognizing that our well-being is interconnected and that when we take care of ourselves, we're also taking care of each other.
Exactly. And the book highlights how cultures that value rest, like those that practice the siesta or inamuri,
Right.
often have stronger social bonds and a greater sense of community.
It's like napping is a shared ritual that brings people together, fostering a sense of connection and belonging.
You've got it. And the book encourages us to create a culture of rest in our own communities.
Okay. To encourage napping in workplaces, schools, and public spaces,
Wow.
and to challenge the stigma associated with rest.
It's about shifting our priorities from valuing busyness and productivity above all else to recognizing the importance of rest, recovery, and connection.
Beautifully said. And this shift in mindset is something we can all contribute to.
One nap at a time.
One
Nap at a time. It's a powerful reminder that even small changes like taking a nap can have a ripple effect, creating a more restful, resilient, and connected society.
I love that.
This has been an incredible deep dive into the world of napping.
That has been.
I've learned so much, and I'm definitely inspired to make napping a more intentional part of my life.
I'm thrilled to hear that. And remember, if you're intrigued and want to delve even deeper into the science, the benefits, and the strategies for successful napping,
Yeah.
be sure to check out The Power Nap, Unlocking the Secret Weapon for Men Who Lead by Conrad Reicher.
Yes, definitely check it out, listener. It's a fascinating read.
It is.
And a great resource for anyone who wants to harness the power of napping. You can find it on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books.
Perfect. And listeners, as you go about your day, remember this. What could you achieve if you had more energy, more focus, and more emotional resilience.
Yeah, think about that.
Maybe, just maybe, the answer lies in taking a nap.
You know, it's funny, we were talking about how other cultures really have embraced napping
Yeah.
in ways that we haven't.
Right.
And the book actually touches on this, suggesting that, we have a lot to learn from these different approaches to rest and how they impact well-being and even societal structure.
You mentioned earlier how napping can actually be a form of resistance against this hustle culture
Oh, yeah.
that's so prevalent in our society.
I love that idea.
And that really resonated with me.
Yeah.
It's like by taking a nap, we're reclaiming our time and energy,
Yes.
pushing back against this idea that we always need to be on and productive.
Exactly. And the book really delves into that idea, arguing that, by embracing rest, particularly napping, we're challenging a system that often prioritizes profit over people.
Right. It's about setting boundaries
And boundaries.
and recognizing that our worth isn't tied to our output.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of men, especially those in leadership positions,
Yeah,
really struggle with that.
I agree.
We're taught to push ourselves to the limit, to be the provider,
Always be strong.
to always be strong and in control.
Right.
But this book seems to be saying that true strength comes from knowing when to rest and recharge.
I love that true strength comes from rest.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that rest isn't a luxury, it's a
It
necessity.
is a necessity.
It's not a sign of weakness,
Yeah.
but it's a sign of self-awareness and
Yeah.
a commitment to our well-being.
And this shift in mindset is something that can benefit everyone,
Everyone.
not just men.
Not just men, absolutely.
So much of our society is built on this idea of constant productivity and striving.
Right.
Imagine if we all embraced the power of rest.
It'd be a different world.
How much happier and healthier we could be. But for someone who's listening to this and feeling inspired to incorporate napping into their life,
Yeah.
what are some simple first steps they can take?
That's a great question. The book emphasizes that finding the right napping strategy is a personal journey.
Okay.
What works for one person might not work for another. So the first step is experiment.
Okay, what kind of things should people be experimenting with?
Well, you can start by trying different nap lengths.
Different nap likes, okay.
Some people find that a quick 20-minute power nap is all they need to feel refreshed, while others might prefer a longer 60-90-minute nap to enter deeper sleep stages and experience more restorative benefit.
So it's about finding what feels right for you and your body.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to adjust your napping routine as needed.
Yeah.
Life is constantly changing, and our sleep needs can change too.
Yeah.
The key is to listen to your body
Listen to your body.
and pay attention to how different nap lengths and timings affect you.
It makes sense. It's about finding that sweet spot where you wake up feeling refreshed and energized.
Yes.
Not groggy or disoriented.
Not groggy or disoriented. The book also offers some great advice on creating a nap-friendly environment.
Yeah, we talked about this a bit earlier.
We did.
But it's worth reiterating.
It's worth reiterating the ideal nap environment is dark, quiet, and cool.
Right.
So consider investing in blackout curtains, earplugs, or a white noise machine to minimize distractions and optimize your sleep.
It's about creating a sanctuary where you can truly disconnect from the world and give your mind and body a chance to rest and recharge.
I love that, creating a sanctuary.
And don't underestimate the power of a comfortable sleep surface.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it's your bed, a couch, or even a hammock, finding a comfortable place to nap can make a world of difference.
Absolutely.
You know, this conversation has really opened my eyes to the potential of napping.
I'm so glad.
It's not just about catching up on sleep. It's about optimizing our mental and physical performance,
Yeah.
strengthening our relationships, and even creating a more compassionate and connected society.
I love it.
It's about recognizing that rest is not a luxury, but a fundamental human need.
It is,
And it's something we can all embrace, regardless of our age, gender, or profession.
regardless of anything.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into the world of napping.
It has.
I'm walking away with a whole new appreciation for the power of rest.
I'm so glad. And remember, if you're interested in exploring this topic further, The Power Nap, Unlocking the Secret Weapon for Men Who Lead by Conrad Riker is a fantastic resource.
Yes, definitely check it out, listeners. You can find it on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books. It's packed with insights, research, and practical tips to help you harness the power of napping and unlock your full potential.
It's a game changer.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. What could you achieve if you had more energy, more focus, and more emotional resilience? Maybe the answer lies in taking a nap. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.